This podcast is part of the Batman Universe Podcast Network, hosted by the BatmanUniverse.net. Check out everything related to Batman and the entire Bat family at the BatmanUniverse.net, including news and original content related to comics, movies, television, merchandise, video games, and more. Also, check out some of the other unique podcasts that TBU has to offer. Consider supporting this podcast by becoming a patron on Patreon. Even $1 can go a long way in supporting this content that you enjoy. Look for a link over at the BatmanUniverse.net to offer your support now. And now, on with the show.
Scarecrows frightened of a clown that's laughing, boys. I am a Bat-Fan. I am a Bat-Fan. Shine that signal, come out to play. I am a Bat-Fan. I am a Bat-Fan. Bring it on, Batman. Jump out your cave, 'cause I am a Bat-Fan. I am a Bat-Fan. Shine that signal,
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of That 10 G311. This is episode 221. My name is Tim, and joining me, as always, is Dane. Dane, how's it going?
It's going good, Tim. You know what? You know what the difference is between when you host and I host? I always forget the episode number. I just realized that.
I would say you're hit and miss. Not totally forgotten by you, but don't say it every time also.
Yeah, I should remember to do that. So like our next one is going to be a big one because it's going to be 222.
That's right. Yes.
Right. So
You know what? It should probably be a Two-Face theme episode or something.
yeah, we should do a commentary on the Two-Face two-parter animated series show.
I'd be down for that.
Yeah,
that'd be a great way to celebrate it because it's two-part episode. It's Two-Face. It's 222. I mean, can't go wrong.
See, it works.
Yeah, let's do it. But no, it's another big thing too. We're getting real close to episode 311. You know, that's going to be our biggest episode ever.
Yeah, you're gonna have to give a full thesis on every single 311 album.
Yeah.
So,
Which hopefully by then they'll have at least one or two more albums out by now, or by the time we get to that episode. So we only got 90 more to go. So get ready. See, I'm not excited about episode 300. I'm excited about episode 311. That's the milestone, not 300.
Yeah, that's the big milestone for you. 311. I wonder if there's a milestone for me. I don't think so.
Nothing big number wise.
Yeah. Well, you know, I have been watching the final season of the Clone Wars, the quote-unquote final season of Clone Wars.
Even though there's one more after the one you're watching.
Yeah. And there's probably going to be another one after that, too.
I won't be complaining if that's the case.
I have been watching the Clone Wars final season. So the 555 one for fives, right?
Yeah, such a good one.
Yeah, we would have to do a commentary on that fives episode.
Yes. See, well, we got 3 future episodes planned out already.
They're way in the future, but we're planning it out.
So I don't even want to think about what year it will be when we get to episode 555.
Or I think we should say we're going to be like the Warner Brothers release schedule for the DC films.
Only one of those episodes makes it out.
So in 2021, we're going to have The Flash, The Green Lantern, and 5 Wonder Woman movies by then.
You know what, Dave? Now that you think about it, I think now that we're in 2021, every movie on that list should have been out by now.
Even the Green Lantern one?
Yeah, Green Lantern was supposed to be last year, 2020.
Wow. I missed the mark on that one.
So, what movies came out from there? I think just the Wonder Woman sequel and Shazam.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Yeah, the Warner Brothers movie, the DC movie that I keep on forgetting that exists. You know,
Which one, Shazam?
Shazam.
Oh, it's a great one.
Yeah, it is good. I just forget that happened. Okay, so yeah, so we'll just keep it like that. We'll keep it loose. You know, we don't have to, we're not going to keep a schedule, Tim. I mean, we're going to announce the schedule, but we're not going to stick
Yes.
to it.
You heard our future episode plans, but will it
Yeah.
happen? Well, that remains to be seen.
Probably not. We're probably going to get to like one episode of the two-phase two-parter.
Well, it will be really bad if we don't make it to that one because that's our next episode.
Yeah, no. We totally forget from now until we record 222. Yeah.
But if we make it to episode 555, what are the chances that we are still on the Fellowship of the Ring minute by minute commentary? Do you think we'll be on Two Towers by then or still Fellowship?
No, we're probably going to still be, I'd say 3/4 of the way through Fellowship. Fellowship of the Ring. But you know, speaking of Lord of the Rings, was Lord of the Rings the first film series that sort of did the planned sequel sort of thing, the Marvel sort of thing? It was, right?
Was it? Well, no, I think it's the Superman movies was one of the early ones because they filmed those two back to back until Richard Donner got fired and they had to redo Superman 2. But that was kind of planned for two movies right out of the get-go. So that's maybe one of the earlier ones.
So that was planned as two. That wasn't one movie.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I'm sure there's others, but
Yeah.
it's coming to mind right now. Of course, you know, George Lucas always hoped there'd be more Star Wars movies, but was it something that it was greenlit where, yeah, you automatically get 3, obviously. You had to wait till the first one became the smash hit that it was. But
yeah.
But that is one of the earlier movies, at least for me, where it was like, wow, 3 movies being filmed back to back to back, and they're each coming out a year apart from each other. That's kind of unheard of, or at least very rarely done. So that was a big deal when that was announced.
Yeah, because I was thinking about that, and I was like, Lord of the Rings because they said, you know, okay, here's Fellowship of the Ring, and then a year from now or whatever, we're going to release Two Towers, and then we're going to go to the Return of the King a year after that, right? And I can't remember any other film series that does that. Phantom Menace.
That was kind of a given.
Yeah.
That
there would be sequels, 3, right? Yeah.
They weren't filmed back to back, though.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Because, like, Lord of the Rings, like, production didn't stop until Return of the King was done.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I get. Well, either way, it's a one of a kind.
Yeah.
movie making thing. You know?
It's definitely a feather, and it's one of its many feathers in its cap.
Yeah.
That's so great about it. And speaking of that many great feathers that Lord of the Rings trilogy has, we're going to be diving deep into the 9th minute of that amazing film trilogy and all that was filmed back to back to back. We're going to be focusing on that 9 minute, of which I'm sure is going to be filled with many great insights that Peter Jackson wanted us to discuss as we're doing this minute by minute commentary. So if you are ready, go ahead and grab your VHS copy, your Betamax copy, your Laserdisc copy, your DVD copy, your HD DVD copy, your Blu-ray copy, your Netflix physical media copy that you just got in the mail, your Blockbuster membership card, and go rent it at the last Blockbuster store. Or you can watch the DVHS version, or the way me and Dane are watching this right now, our VHS converted to DVD copy through some random PC program or player that you're able to do that with. So we're going to be going from minute 9 to minute 10. So are you ready, Dane?
No, I'm not. Because you forgot Laserdisc, the most important
Did I forget
format that
Laserdisc?
ever happened. I think
My
you did.
apologies.
I think
So
you did. I'm not
for
sure.
Lord of the
but-
Rings, you'd probably have to flip the Laserdisc. You'd probably have to have like 4 Laserdiscs and flip it 8 times or something to get to the whole movie if you're watching the extended cut. But that's not as good as the VHS to converted DVD copy that we're watching on, so we don't have to worry about that.
The way Peter Jackson wanted us to watch it.
Yes, especially when you do it watching it minute by minute. So if you're ready, I'll give the countdown in 3, 2, 1, play. We're still in Hobbiton, getting a nice view of a pig getting petted on the back.
You would think the pigs and all the animals would be smaller, you know?
Well, I wouldn't see why. They're all, let's probably think the hobbits would be surprised at how, or not surprised, but just all knowing that pigs are that big in size and probably how small they look to normal sized folk.
Oh,
I shouldn't say normal sized folk, just the men. Or there's a lot of this was extended to for.
like all these party scenes?
Yeah.
Or setting up?
A portion of this was in the movie, but it definitely got expanded on in the extended cut.
What's that game that they're playing?
I didn't notice. And Sam gets an kind of a strange introduction where he's part of like the concerning hobbits portion where they're showing the lives and how hobbits operate on a day-to-day basis. I mean, he's a main character and he just kind of shows up as part of like the regular hobbit folk where you don't think he's going to, if you're just going into it for the first time, wouldn't think he's going to be someone who's going to play a major factor in the story just because, I think a character would have a bigger first appearance than that. Kind of just mix in with all the other hobbits there.
I wonder if you're watching that, and I guess you were an adult at the time. I wonder if you're like, is the guy from Rudy? Or is the guy from Goonies?
Is that the guy from Encino Man? Remember that one?
Oh, Tim. Oh, I forgot he was in that movie. I forgot that movie.
That might have been the first movie where I've seen Sean Astin.
Really? Yeah. The first movie I saw him in was Rudy, because I had gotten in trouble at school, and during detention they played Rudy.
No, I've never seen that.
Yeah, you can skip it.
Really? It's not as, because I know it has a good reputation.
Oh, it's good. It's good. You just got to be into it, You got to be like, I don't know, like a Notre Dame football fan.
Is it supposed to be like the ultimate underdog story, though?
Yeah, like I'm trying to remember. I think he was just like a small guy, and he wanted to play on like the defensive line with all the big guys or something. And he tried out for the team, and he got like a walk-on spot on the team. Like this was his childhood dream, and the coach never played him because he's undersized. And he plays in like the final minute of the last game, and he makes a tackle
and wins the game for him because of that. I assume.
I can't remember because I remember him just like making one tackle, and like he like the quarterback fumbles the ball and he gets the ball or something, and they carry him off the field, and like everybody's like, "Yeah, Rudy, you did it." It's supposed to be a feel-good thing.
Yeah, that's what I always assumed about everyone I've heard, but well, maybe I should actually check it out for myself to find out what exactly happened in that ending.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's our minute-by-minute Lord of the Rings commentary for this episode, which transitioned into a movie or a conversation about Rudy. But with that, I guess we can go ahead and get into our feature topic for this episode, which is going to be a review of the much anticipated animated movie, Batman: The Long Halloween. Yes, it is finally out. And the best part about it is it's out and we're only a few weeks away from part 2. And it's something where I said this before, where the wait for The Dark Knight Returns part 1 and 2 was so long, but I'm just so glad that this one is just pretty much almost back to back, so it's not much of a wait. But in regards to part 1, my general impressions of it right off the bat is I was extremely happy with this movie and this adaptation of The Long Halloween. Obviously, it's one of the greatest Batman stories told in comics, or just in general, really. It's the great detective murder mystery story, and was definitely on the list of adaptions that I know me and a lot of other fans wanted to see Warner Brothers do for the DC animated movies, and finally got it. And in my opinion, it didn't disappoint. And now it's not an exact adaptation, kind of like how Year One and The Dark Knight Returns were. But what I really enjoy about it is that they adapt all the important stuff from the story that you would expect to see, and just had enough new stuff in it that made it feel fresh and just felt right in the story, and that we were getting that in the adaptation for The Long Halloween. So it was, I think, a nice mix of staying faithful to the comics source material, but having just enough new stuff into it as well that didn't make it feel like, oh, how can they change this and not follow this like the comic? Because I know they've done that in the past. Hush is a real big one that was split, I know, amongst fans. I totally get how some fans of the comic book were not happy with that animated movie for some of the changes they made. Gotham by Gaslight is another one that they changed. But this one stayed pretty faithful and truthful to the main story in the comics. So this one takes place, obviously, part 1. Not going to cover the whole comic. We know it's long. So this one covers about the holiday murders from the first one in Halloween up until the New Year's murder. So it's that portion of the comic. And I just really liked how it started different, where it wasn't at the wedding of the Falcone wedding, where Bruce was there meeting with Carmine. The movie does start with Bruce having a meeting with Carmine Falcone, and he says the iconic first line of the comic, "I believe in Gotham City." But things definitely play out differently in the comic, while leading up to events that happen in the comic are the same. They just kind of happen in different areas, different times, stuff like that. But those classic moments are still there. And of course, one of the biggest highlights of the comic, especially in the early part, is getting that team up of Batman, Gordon, and Harvey Dent for the first time. And that was translated well into the animated movie. And again, just watching it, and I got to say too, it's been a while since I've read the comic. And before the movie came out, I reread the first few issues of it, and just kind of remembering just how good it was and just what a classic it is. So while reading the comic and then watching the movie too, just seeing the dynamic between Gordon, Batman, and Harvey was just, what a great job too the Dark Knight did, taking that aspect of the comic and adapting it into that movie. It was just great. So that iconic rooftop scene between the three of them was in the movie. It was done really well. And the classic line when Batman leaves unexpectedly when they don't notice him, or Gordon says he does that, it was in there. So I just love that whole sequence. Just such a great moment between those three characters in the comic, The Dark Knight, and now in the animated movie. Just such a great storyline where you just see these three people coming from different avenues to bring justice to Gotham City, obviously, and then trying to generally want to help the city and do the right thing. And then, of course, knowing that one of them falls in Harvey Dent and Two-Face. And it's kind of a story that we've seen before, obviously. It's been adapted several times, but this one I never get tired of seeing. And it started off well here in the Long Halloween animated movie as well. So, like I said, it covers the first 3 to 4 murders of the holiday killer and the mystery surrounding who's doing it, picking off members of the Falcone family. And we know Catwoman plays a big role in the story, and later on, which we'll see in part 2, why she's so connected to the Falcone family. But her interactions here with Batman were really well done. There was some added stuff where a little more like rooftop chase sequences than we had in the comics. So that was a nice addition that we got to it as well. And one of the biggest changes, because this one had more action than the comic did, at least in the first half, where once we get to the point where after Harvey Dent and Gilda Dent's house blows up and they're suspected to be dead, the suspect that Gordon and Batman get in who they think is behind the explosion of his home, I believe the name was Mickey. They changed that to like, instead of in the comic being an Irish gang, they're like part of like the Chinese Triad gang in the animated movie. So in the animated movie, his name was Mickey Chen. And so once Batman and Gordon are done interrogating him, then there's kind of a chase sequence or a sequence where Batman confronts that gang in an alley. And it's a really cool fight sequence that happens between Batman and that Triad gang. And then Catwoman comes in and helps them. Just a really cool, the choreography and the animation was great in that sequence. So that was probably the best new addition that we got, just to kind of keep the pace moving a little bit, where we get a cool action scene with there. And then more classic moments from the comic that were adapted well. Batman and Gordon talking and questioning Calendar Man in Arkham Asylum, moving up to Joker's first appearance in the story. We get the scene with him attacking Harvey Dent in his home. That was extended too, a little more action in there, where Joker kind of has a shootout with Harvey in his home. And then Joker, of course, confronting Carmine Falcone in his home, leading up to I believe the third holiday murder that we get. And then that whole sequence with Batman and Joker on the crop duster plane was adapted really well. It made for a fun action sequence. So just, again, going back to that point where I felt it was just a nice balance of taking great moments from the comic and mixing it with some new stuff just to keep the pace and the flow of the movie going really nicely, which I really enjoyed. And so the final part of the movie is after everything with the Joker is when they have that yacht party where Carmine Falcone kind of distances himself from his son Alberto, where he calls Bruce his son he never had. And the movie really playing into the fact that Alberto is the holiday killer that Batman even suspects too. And the movie kind of pretty much calls him out on it and confronts him. This was a kind of another change here where where Batman is there with Selena. She's not as Catwoman. She was just there at the party. But Bruce confronts Alberto, kind of accusing him to be the holiday killer. And then we know Alberto gets killed in that moment in the comics. So we knew that was coming, but the way it played out was a little more extreme in how he died here. But I liked how it was done, where we see the holiday killer obviously kind of covered up in silhouette. You can't see his face, and who's kind of on the next level of the yacht and just shoots Alberto, and you see him fall in the ocean, which, if I remember right, was kind of all we got in the comic. But in the movie, he falls into the water and then just gets chopped to bits by the engine fan, just making you think, obviously, there's no way he survived that. And spoiler alert, anyone who's familiar with the comics knows he comes back to reveal himself to be one of the holiday killers. So that makes me wonder if just the way he was killed in this movie, if they're going to go in a different direction in part 2, if he is revealed to be the holiday killer. And if that's going to be the case, and they're going to bring him back in some crazy way, or they're going to have it where he's really dead and they're going to be going in a different direction. So we'll see about that. But that's kind of where the movie ends, where you just got Gordon, Batman, and Dent just meeting again, just still questioning who the holiday killer really is and what's going to happen next. So again, I thought it was just a really solid adaptation of telling that first half of the story of The Long Halloween. It was just, to me, just a different and a refreshing animated Batman movie that we really haven't gotten, that just really focusing in on a good solid murder mystery story, which was so great about The Long Halloween, and then just trying to see all these characters figure out who the holiday killer is. And I just really thought they did a good job at adapting that part of the story, and just made me real excited for part 2, which I think really excited for. I love the trailer and just how we're going to get more of the Batman villains in that movie, like Scarecrow and Mad Hatter, who look great. And it's one of the things I really liked about the latter half of the Long Halloween comic, is how we kind of see that transition of the criminals in Gotham go from the mob families like the Falcones into the costume villains of Batman's classics Rogues Gallery. So, and then obviously the fall of Harvey Dent into Two-Face. So a lot of stuff to look forward to, but they just did a really good job of adapting this part of the story for part 1. And great job by the voice cast too. I think Jensen Ackles was a really great Bruce Wayne and Batman. Obviously, we remember him as voicing Jason Todd and Red Hood and Under the Red Hood, who I think he's kind of, when I read Red Hood comics, I hear his voice because he did such a great job of playing Jason Todd in the Red Hood. And now to transition into making a really good Batman and Bruce Wayne, I mean, hats off to him. He did a really good job. And then also too, the animation. This is just kind of one of my nitpicks about it. I said this before when we saw the first trailer, how I wish the animation style was closer to Tim Sale's art style in the comics, but it still looks really great when you watch the movie. And I'm just not a fan overall in some of that, in the animation style that some of these movies are doing now, where the black outlines are just really highlighted and bold and stand out, almost like they're really trying to make it feel like a comic. I think it works in some cases, but it's not my favorite style. I don't hate it, but something that I wish doesn't get used too often. And this movie did have it. It wasn't distracting, but it's just not my favorite type of animation style that I see. But it looked beautiful. The animation was great in the action sequences and the layouts of Gotham City. So all of it was great. It's just kind of my particular taste. Just wasn't necessarily my favorite. But overall, I loved it. I was extremely pleased with how they adapted this story into an animated movie. I think it's going to be great once we get part 2, and hopefully that eventual long cut of the movie where it's parts 1 and parts 2 combined together for one long movie that tells this great Batman story, which I can't wait to experience. So yeah, this is definitely a great one to check out. It's up there, I think, with one of the better Batman animated movies that are adapted from the comics. So it's up there with The Dark Knight Returns and Under the Red Hood as far as how, because those are, I think, the top 2 when you're talking about Batman comics that were adapted into movies. And this one, I think, is going to fit right up there. So overall, I'd probably give it a 4.5 out of 5. Just some minor nitpicks with the animation style. But other than that, it was just great to see this classic Batman story translated into an animated movie. I was really, really happy with it.
So, does this get the Tim recommend?
Oh, it most definitely does. Yes.
Okay. Okay, so you gotta watch it.
Yes, you definitely got to check it out.
Yeah.
When
Okay.
was the last time you actually read the Long Halloween comic?
It's been a while.
Yeah, it was for me too. So
Well, I want to say around The Dark Knight Rises. Maybe before that.
yeah, to me, I think it was probably when The Dark Knight came out. Was probably the last time. So, are you the type where? Are you the type of person who, you obviously read the comic, you know it, but it's been a while, so you don't remember a lot about it. If you're going to go into the movie, would you want to go back and read the comic, or kind of let the movie go into it fresh and let the movie kind of speak for itself on how it's adapting that story?
I'm gonna let I'm just gonna go into the movie because it is a long comic. I have read it before. But what I'm afraid of is like, am I gonna be like, if there's like a new scene or something? Am I gonna be like, oh, you remember when Batman fought Two-Face on the roof of the blah blah blah, and that only happened in the animated movie?
Yeah,
it didn't happen in the comic book.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah. Because if I didn't do a quick refresher, that fight Batman had with that Chinese triad gang, I would probably be thinking to myself, I'm not sure if that was in the comic or not.
Yeah. Also, I guess you call this Batman the short Halloween because it's broken up into 2 parts, right?
Yeah. That's true for this movie anyway. It's referred to as Batman the Short Halloween. Just from Halloween to New Year's Day. But you do remember like the big stuff as far as who ends up being the holiday killer, right? From the comic.
I think so. It's
interesting. You think so?
It's Falcone's son, right?
Alberto, yes. But do you remember the last page of the comic?
No, I don't.
Oh, interesting. So if you go into part 2, and if it follows the same story outline as the comic, it should make for a nice surprise.
So now you got me interested.
So are you just go ahead and look it up and spoil yourself for the end of part 2?
Yeah, it might. Well, I mean, it has been like, I mean, let's just say over 10 years since I've read
Yeah.
The Long Halloween. So, yeah,
Kind of crazy to think just how old that story is too. I mean, it came out in
I know, right?
97, I believe. So
Yeah,
24 years old, something like that. Just
jeez.
crazy. It doesn't feel like it.
The Long Halloween has been drinking for 3 years.
But when you have a murder mystery like The Long Halloween, you're going to need a lot of drinks to get through it.
I can't believe how old the Dark Knight is. It's 12, 13 years old now.
Yep. And it's that it's strange. Like, obviously, it's been a while, but the excitement and just everything that happened during that year, just being so excited for that movie, it just feels like yesterday, really. I think
Yeah,
that's just how amazing the movie was, that time was, and just how it sticks with you. It's just something that doesn't seem possible that it's that old, because it just feels fresh when you think about that movie, the excitement surrounding it.
yeah. The Dark Knight is only 9 years old. I mean, The Dark Knight Rises is only 9 years old.
That, I mean, just thinking of that
So,
as 10 years old is crazy, because that's
yeah.
going to be 10-year anniversary of this podcast. So that's crazy to think about too.
Yeah, right.
Time is definitely flying. That's for sure.
Unfortunately,
I know.
unfortunately, it's flying for us. Then we're gonna
Yeah.
be old. We're old already.
And the older you get, the quicker time flies.
Yeah,
So any young kids right now listening to this, appreciate your youth in the time that you have right now. Because when you're young, time seems like it goes so slow. Months and weeks seem like forever, but hang on to it and cherish it.
yeah,
Because it ain't going to feel like that for much longer. And when you wish it could.
yeah. It's like one day you're seeing The Dark Knight Rises. You're young. Everything is going good, and the next moment you are having a hard time getting out of bed because your body hurts.
Yeah, you're like me a couple of weeks ago where your neck was having muscle spasms and you couldn't move it for a
Oh
day or
yeah,
two.
that's right. I forgot to ask. Are you feeling better?
Yeah, I'm pretty much better. It's
I
like
know.
right now when I wake up is where I kind of still feel a little bit of the neck ache. But
Yeah,
once the day gets going, especially in the last 3 days where it's pretty much felt 100%, where I'm
yeah.
not taking any medicine anymore for it. I have been doing a little bit of the like therapeutic exercises, like movement
Mm,
exercises the doctor gave me. Yesterday was the first day I didn't do it because I was feeling really good and still feeling good right now, but still good to probably kind of keep doing it to keep it loose. So that's probably much the only thing that I'm still doing for it to keep it
right.
from not feeling that pain all the time. But it's almost 100%. I'd say I'm about 98 to 99% of feeling almost all better with it.
So that was from the COVID vaccine, or you just hurt your neck from
I I just think it's, well, the doctor even said it was probably a coincidence because I got it.
mm,
It started hurting right after I was like pretty much feeling better from the vaccine. Because I don't know if I said this on the last episode, if we're talking before we recorded, but I went to work that Monday still not feeling great from the vaccine. And I
yeah,
even got sent home early to say, you still don't look good, but might as well go home. On the way home, I felt a little something in my neck, but didn't think really anything of it. Then the next day where it felt worse, I was like, oh, this doesn't feel good. And later that night is where it just got so bad I could not move and I didn't even sleep that night. I was just like waiting, trying to get some sleep, and then just knowing I'll probably have to go to urgent care the next day, which I did, and that's
yeah.
where I got all the prescription medicine for it and the exercises to do and all that, which I've been doing for about 2.5 weeks now. So it's taken a bit of while to get fully better, but as long as I'm feeling better. It was just weird how it just right after everything that happened with the second COVID vaccine shot. So doctor said it was probably coincidence. So I'll take his word for it, but it was just something that felt like just getting one after the other wasn't a good time. I'll say that.
Did did your arm hurt after you got the vaccine?
Yeah, that's the first thing I felt like afterwards.
Maybe like it went up or something.
Maybe
It's your neck.
I don't know. It's I never heard that as far as something that could be part of the symptoms or side effects, I should say, from getting it. But it just could
Yeah.
have been something maybe like feeling really sick from the COVID vaccine shot or the stress from it or something triggered the neck
Mhm.
muscle spasm. So maybe it like wasn't directly related to the shot, but getting the side effects affected it or something. It's related to that. So I don't know. But
Yeah. Well, you know, I it's worth it, right? Getting
oh,
the COVID
definitely.
vaccine.
Oh, I
Yeah.
don't regret it. That's for sure. I
Yeah.
just knowing the fact I'm fully vaccinated now is a good feeling.
Yeah, me too. We're also fully magnetized now, so like metal stuff
Yeah,
into a.
that's good. Yeah.
Isn't that the new conspiracy theory?
Didn't realize that. But that's good to know.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a real fun few weeks for me, but
I'm sure.
but on the up now.
Well,
So
hopefully there was something Star Wars that cheered you up, Tim.
not really anything major Star Wars other than
Uh,
just enjoying the Bad Batch episodes week to week
yeah.
during that time. So I had that, but it's been pretty quiet on the Star Wars front, to be honest with you.
Oh, maybe they're planning something. You know,
But really, this is
they're
going to
so
be
quiet.
as quiet as it's going to be for a while because I think starting once we get the Book of Boba Fett, we're just going to be getting a bunch of Star Wars TV shows, and which means trailers, announcements, stuff like that. So just a little
Yeah.
calm before the storm, I think.
So they're not going to announce a bunch of stuff and then not do it.
Like we are. And Star Wars Celebration is going to be in May of 22, I think now.
Are you
So
going?
yeah, they just announced the date for that a couple of weeks ago or a month ago. I can't remember, but it's going to be in May 2022 here in Anaheim.
Are
Don't
you
know if I'm
going?
going to get tickets for it though, because they
Yeah.
sold out real quick when it was supposed to happen last year. And they're pretty much going to honor the passes and tickets everyone got for that for this one. So I don't know if any more are going to go on sale, but we'll see.
So yeah, maybe you're gonna be celebrating at home, Tim.
I mean, honestly, I had a blast at Star Wars Celebration Anaheim the first time, but it was really because being with the people I was with, my friends I know who are Star Wars fans. It wasn't because of, I mean, being there for some big announcements was awesome. I'm not gonna lie about that, but it's with being with the people who you're close with and are
Right.
passionate about it as you are. So even if I don't get to go into Star Wars Celebration, but I know the people who are going to come down to it, and I just get to go and hang out with them for a little bit. That's going to be fun too, and we'll just geek out about the big announcements afterwards. Even though I won't be at any of the panels, but we'll see. Well, hopefully something might open up later on. Someone can't go, or they make more tickets available. We'll see. But right now, I don't have a pass.
How much do those passes cost?
For the 4 day or 5 days, however long it is, I
Yeah.
forget exactly, but probably like I think it was in the hundreds or something, like a little over 100.
Oh, that's not that bad.
I don't remember exactly. I know it was pretty reasonable when I got mine in 2015 when they had Celebration Anaheim. Then it wasn't bad at all.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was like a couple $100 to
Well,
go
that's
in.
the thing. I didn't know for this one because I didn't even get to the point where I could look at the prices and try to even get tickets. They were gone so quick.
I wonder if people are gonna like sell them on eBay. At
Wouldn't
like
surprise me
ridiculous
because
prices.
I can't imagine everyone who bought tickets when it's supposed to be August 2020 is
Yeah.
going to be available still to go May 2022. Obviously, circumstances change when you're talking about a 2-year time difference there. So I've got to imagine there's going to be some that are going to be available or people are going to make them available.
Yeah.
But still got a ways to go. So not really
It-
thinking about it right now.
Now, let me ask you, like, so let the time that you went, right?
Mhm.
Um, did you get anything to eat or drink? while you're inside of the convention center?
I did the first day, and I did it afterwards because it wasn't great. I just got like
Oh,
some
really?
turkey sandwich or something at one of the vendors inside there.
And
And then like the rest of the days, I just didn't even eat till after the show, like the convention was over.
was it like really expensive? Or
Yeah, it was expensive than normal.
like how much? Do you remember?
I was like $15 or something for like a turkey sandwich,
Wow.
or did I get a drink and chips? I don't remember, but I think I did. But definitely more expensive than going to like a Subway and getting a sandwich there and chips and a drink.
And you're telling me Subway is better than a $15 turkey sandwich at
This one was, yeah. When you compare it to this sandwich. Well, the cool thing was, I remember too, about on Saturday when we were waiting, we pretty much that whole day we just waited in line for the Star Wars Rebels season 2 premiere, and we were like one of the first ones too. We got a good spot, so that's we were out all day. But someone got like Jack in the Box or Burger King, like just a few rows ahead of us, and they had extra, and they offered us if we wanted some of the burgers, and we go, yeah, sure. So we had a free meal that day while just waiting in line, which is really cool.
Did that person bring it in, or is there like a Jack in the Box like stand?
No, not that I remember seeing a stand or anything. So he must have went out and got one and just brought it back.
No, I didn't know you could do that. You could bring food into the celebration.
Must have snuck it in. Maybe someone's costume or something. They were able to sneak in some burgers.
You snuck in a bag of burgers in your pants.
In a Jedi robe or
Oh,
a secret compartment in Boba Fett's jetpack that can hold some smuggled burgers.
well, I know it can get pricey, right?
Yeah.
Oh man, Disneyland must be worse, right?
Dude, yeah. I know. I can't even imagine what the food prices are in there now.
Yeah, like
got to be $20 for a churro or something.
Oh my god. Yeah, like $20 for a churro. It's like $35 just for the burger.
Yeah, just the burger, not a drink and fries.
Just for the burger. It's extra $9 for the drink. It's extra, I don't know, $7 for the fries.
Yeah.
So all in all, you're spending like over $50 just for one meal.
Yeah. So it's like better be prepared just to have one meal there and then just make it through the rest of the day.
Yeah.
Hopefully that one meal lasts you for the whole day.
But you know, like what I'm wondering is like, do they charge more for like their specialty parks? You know what I mean? Like Galaxy's Edge or like the California Adventure sort of thing, or the Avengers Campus.
Mm.
Like, are they charging more for their food?
Well, probably, since it's kind of specially designed food for those parks, especially Star Wars, Galaxy's Edge, and Avengers Campus, since it's its own unique menus and all that. So probably so, and especially in Avengers Campus, where it has the Pym's Particle Kitchen, where things are bigger than normal, like extra size of like pretzels or stuff like that. So I would imagine the prices are bigger too.
Yeah. I like how you said that, Tim.
I want to check that out.
You get a bigger burger. You get a bigger burger, but you also get a bigger price with it.
That's the tagline. I feel like
it looks really cool.
Yeah.
It looks really cool, though. Yeah.
I'm hearing mixed things on the Spiderman ride, though. I heard it's not quite as great as people were hoping.
I can't remember who did like not a virtual tour, but like a picture tour of like what you're going through, and it looks like you're just like you're doing that Spider-Man hitting his web things motion, and it's supposed to like it's like a VR thing, like supposed to like shoot the web at the spiders.
Yeah, it gets compared to like an interactive video game, pretty much. Where you're on the ride, you have obviously on the screen, you have your 3D glasses, and you're just doing the motions with your hands, like you're shooting webs, just trying to rack up points to see how many like these robotic spiders you could catch. So you get a good workout out here while you're doing it. But I mean, I heard it's not horrible. It's just, not really a great first attraction, I guess, and pretty much the only main ride in the Avengers Campus section. But I'm sure there'll be more added to it.
What's the name of the Millennium Falcon ride?
Smuggler's Run.
Smuggler's Run.
Yeah.
And if I'm recalling this correctly, like, let's say you and I go, right? So like, how do they divide up the like who goes on what station?
They pretty much ask you, or like they have these, almost, I forget exactly, almost like these different colored tickets where two are the pilots, 2 are the gunners, and 2 are the engineers. So 6 people can go on it. And then you kind of decide amongst yourselves who's going to get what section. And then you tell the person while you're online, like gunner, pilot, whatever, then they give you those keys or tickets or whatever to know your section. So you kind of have to plan it out amongst your party of who you're going with to see who's going to do what.
So if it's just you and me, then there's 4 other strangers?
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
You do get paired with that, yeah. So.
Oh, so it's good to go with like 6 people that you know. Then.
Ideally, yes.
Yeah. Oh.
They do have a separate, like, if you're going by yourself, they do have a separate line that's just for like single passengers only. So I guess they just stick you with maybe a party of 4 or 5, and there's an extra spot, and they just put you with that group. So.
Oh, I see. So what station did you get?
So first time we went on it, I just wanted to be a gunner because I figured I just wanted to kind of sit back and enjoy the ride, see the visuals. And the gunner, it would have been really cool if it was actually like the Millennium Falcon, where you go in the gun turrets, like in A New Hope that Han and Luke do. But you're basically just hitting a button at random. There's no targeting or anything like that. You're just hitting a button. Yeah. So
you're just like pressing, like press.
Exactly.
So like a button masher sort of
pretty
thing?
much. Yes.
Oh.
So, I mean, it was okay. Wasn't the best. But then the second time is when you actually flew the Millennium Falcon. That was a blast. That was a lot of fun. Especially when
so like you're actually steering and stuff?
Yeah, so that's why you have 2 people in the pilot seat. One steers to control it to go up and down, and the other controls to go left and right. So.
Oh, I see. And does the thing move?
Yeah.
Does the cockpit move? Oh.
Yeah, it feels like you're actually piloting it. It's really cool. And then the person in Chewie's seat gets the best part, though. That's where you get to pull the lever to go into hyperspace.
Oh, I see.
But it was a lot of fun piloting it, though. It was really cool.
The Rise of the Resistance looks really good.
That is a mind blower, man. It's amazing. Yeah.
So you can't really see like the that's an animatronic, or like that's a video screen sort of thing. You can tell.
Really, you can definitely tell the animatronics, but
it's not like obvious.
No,
and you can see like the flaws in it, sort of thing.
No, it's so immersive because when you're in a ride vehicle and you're going past these life-size AT-AT walkers that just look amazing and you're in awe, you're not really looking at the fine details of animatronic flaws or anything like that. Just
I see.
Amazing. I want to go on that again so bad.
It looks really cool.
It's not even a ride; it's an experience because even the lead up to until you get to the actual ride portion is amazing too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because
what's the lead up?
Because the lead up, you're basically being recruited by the Resistance to lead the planet on this transport. So you go outside where you're waiting in line. You go outside to see this transport, and then you see Post X-Wing, you see BB-8. It just looks really cool. You go on the transport, and you're just standing on there. People are in there. There's an animatronic of a Mon Calamari pilot who's talking to you. And then it turns into like a Star Tours ride, but you're standing up. So you lift off from the ride in the park, and then the transitions to planet into space, and then you get attacked. So then you get boarded by a First Order Star Destroyer. And I don't know how they pulled this off. I mean, I haven't seen any YouTube videos of behind the scenes or if there's any out there, but like I said, you're literally outside the park going into a transport. You're outside. It's a real sky and everything. You go into the transport. Like I said, it lifts off to space. You get boarded by the Star Destroyer. The doors open, and then you're inside the bridge of a Star Destroyer. It's like, how did the
What?
ride transition from outside into another part where you're inside a Star Destroyer? It's just crazy how they did it. It's just a seamless transition. It's incredible, and that's
Maybe like
kind of
you
leads you
turn or
into like.
something?
I'm sorry.
Maybe like it turns that capsule that you're
Yeah,
in.
that's to like do a turn, an elevator, like it doesn't go underground or something.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it's something that just works really, really well. And then you're waiting in the queue inside the Star Destroyer where you see some Stormtrooper animatronics. You got the Disney Park employees dressed up as First Order officers, and then
Really?
playing the part.
So you're standing up and walking around?
Yeah, you're pretty much
Oh.
waiting in line still, but it's like you're being captured and moved into a detention center. So
Oh, so you're not sitting down in a thing that's moving.
no, this is all
Okay.
lead up to that. Yeah.
Ah.
So
it leads up to that.
exactly.
Oh.
So while you're making your way through the Star Destroyer, you get put into a holding cell. And then, so your group is in the holding cell. Then an animatronic of Kylo Ren and General Hux are talking to you.
Yeah.
Or no, actually, I think it's the video screen of them. That part, I think their animatronics are later. I think this is just a video screen of both characters kind of interrogating you and talking to you. So then they leave. And this is a really cool effect too, where you're in the holding cell and then you see the walls start to light up and start to be, cut apart where the wall is being blasted through to help you escape. So the wall removes itself and then you see these more Disney park employees, but they're acting as resistance rescuers, freeing you from your prison or holding cell that you're in. And they're leading you to your escape car, which is the actual ride that you go on. And that's where you make your way through the Star Destroyer.
This whole thing leading up to it isn't the actual ride.
But it's all part of the experience, though.
Yeah,
That's
right.
what makes it so
part of the
great.
experience.
Yeah. So once you get on the
that's-
actual escape car, you're like I said, you're seeing these life-size ATs, animatronic stormtroopers, video screen stormtroopers firing at you. There's an animatronic Finn in a certain portion too, telling you where to go to escape. You go to these. Probably my favorite part is when you're making your way through the Star Destroyer, and there's these massive blaster turrets just firing out because there's a space battle going on outside, and this is more where you're looking out these video screens that showing a space battle out there, but seeing these life-size blaster cannons just firing out, just straight out of Revenge of the Sith in that moment in the beginning, where the Republic ship is blasting General Grievous' ship, and you see the shots of the cannons firing at each other. It was just literally living that moment. It was just so cool. So then you confront Kylo Ren, where he moves your cart ride with the Force and kind of spins you around a little bit. And then you see the lightsaber cut through the ceiling where he's trying to get to you, and you have to make your way to an escape pod. And this is another.
With the lightsaber.
Just like a light that comes through on the ceiling that you're looking at.
Yeah.
Just an effect that they do with that. And then the finale of the ride is really cool too, because you have to make your way through an escape pod. So you go to an escape pod, and then you have a little drop, and then it becomes more of like a Star Tours ride where you're sitting down and you're just flying through space, making your way back to the planet Batu that you left on. You're just going through, seeing X-Wings, TIE Fighters, Star Destroyers. You're maneuvering through that battle, going into the atmosphere, back into the planet, back into Disneyland, and then you land, and then you just transition back into outside of the park as the ride vehicle makes its way to the loading zone where you exit. It was just really, really well done.
Wow.
It's an experience. It really is.
Yeah. I was about to say. Yeah, it really is an experience, especially like the fact that you're walking around, you enter the ship, and then like apparently, or like in that capsule or whatever, in that ship, you get boarded by the First Order,
Mm-hmm.
and then like it sort of switches, and you're inside the Star Destroyer, and then like with all the Disney employees like dressing up as like First Order guys and then Resistance people, sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, they do just a great job
Wow.
of just making you really feel like you're living like a Star Wars experience here. I mean,
See, I thought it was more of a Star Tours sort of thing where you're just sitting down and then there's R2 and there's C-3PO and then we're gonna go here, but you can't really move because you're in a thing and the thing is moving.
no, there's definitely elements like that in it, but that's not the whole experience. It's just a great job of having it feel like having portions like Star Tours and having something that's like its own thing. It was just really cool. And there's YouTube videos showing the whole ride if you want to see how it is. But even that doesn't capture the feeling of actually seeing it in person and just seeing all the stuff that happens. It's just mind blowing.
I have to go to Galaxy's Edge.
Yes, you do. The only problem is it's hard to get on there because it's not your typical ride where you just wait online for a bit and you get to go. You have to get there first thing in the morning and try to register on the app to get part of the boarding queue to see if you can get on. So I hear that's still kind of a hassle. They add another time where you can do that, where at 12 p.m. you have another chance to try to get on there. So hopefully they're making it more available for people to experience it because it's something that you have to experience.
Yeah, I was gonna say, with things opening up, it's gonna get a whole lot harder. I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm kind of kicking myself too for missing the boat where Disneyland was just kind of open to limited capacity and only to California residents. Because I heard it was like really great. The lines weren't long at all. It is such a different type of Disneyland experience because it wasn't as crowded as it always is.
Yeah, right. Hey, yeah, I have to go to Galaxy's Edge. Period. I think.
Yeah, just to experience it. Even if you can't go to Rise of the Resistance, I mean that is definitely the highlight. But it's Galaxy's Edge is still cool. Just to be
so like the shops and everything.
Yeah, I mean you probably can't afford to get everything, but just the atmosphere about it is just really cool. Being in that Star Wars environment is just pretty much a dream come true, really.
Did you ever read the novel?
No, I didn't. I didn't really get into all the tie-in stuff surrounding Galaxy's Edge.
So you don't have to. You don't have to.
Definitely not.
Yeah. It's just like there's some characters there that you just don't know who it is.
Well, they pretty much have classic characters there. I mean, like you see Kylo Ren Rey walking around, Chewie's walking around. So there's a few new characters at the shops. Pretty much is all really that you're gonna get as far as new characters. But I forgot to mention Hondo. He's the animatronic of Hondo Onaka for the Smuggler's Run rides there too.
Really?
Yeah, it's a pretty impressive animatronic too.
Yeah. The Chewie costume must get so hot.
Oh man.
Yeah, like that. Even like the is Kylo Ren walking around?
Yep. Walking around with a couple of
hot.
stormtroopers though.
Does he have his helmet on?
Of course.
Oh, now is it the smashed up helmet or is it the new helmet?
No, it's a new helmet because technically it takes place between. No, actually, it takes place between Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker. So he should have his helmet not be repaired yet. So that's a continuity error right there.
Oh, I see. Oh, and does Rey doesn't have her lightsaber yet? Then
not the yellow one. No, just
not the yellow one.
Yeah, just the Skywalker.
But she has her stick.
Yes,
she has her staff.
Yeah.
She has her Donatello bow staff.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I was sort of torn between whether or not I should get a Rey with her bow staff Black Series figure.
Well, I mean, it's a great bow staff, but I kind of prefer Ray
Yeah.
with a lightsaber though.
Yeah.
I got two Ray.
and
I got two figures of Ray. Pretty much one for Force Awakens with a bow or her staff, and then I got her Last Jedi figure with the lightsaber.
And she has a really, I really like. I mean, I know people don't really like it, but I really like her lightsaber. It might be one of my favorite lightsabers.
Believe it or not, I think that's one of the things most people like in Rise of
Really?
Skywalker. Yeah, is their
Good,
lightsaber.
good. Yeah, I like how it doesn't have that traditional button. It has the that sort of, I don't know. She sort of flips the switch, you know, and the thing opens up, and then those teeth sort of rest above it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really like her lightsaber. She does.
I gotta imagine it's a double-bladed lightsaber too.
Yeah, well, it is long.
Exactly.
Right?
I mean,
It's a longer lightsaber.
Gotta make use of the staff plane, so I like to assume that's the case.
Yeah, hers or Dooku's lightsaber. I really like Dooku's lightsaber. It's sort of like curved. It's like he can hold it like he's holding a blaster.
Oh yeah, it's okay.
Oh come on, Tim.
It's not my favorite Dooku's, but
Tim,
it's unique.
Wow, we're gonna have to end this podcast. I can't be friends with you anymore, Tim.
Who would
Because you don't agree with me.
Dooku's lightsaber that caused the end of this podcast?
Let me guess, Tim. You like Anakin and Luke's one.
Oh, well,
and Obi-Wan's.
Well, Obi-Wan's my favorite lightsaber, so yeah. I like his episode 1 lightsaber handle though, more so than his other one.
Oh, does it change?
Yeah.
I didn't even notice that.
In episode 3, he gets the one that he has in A New Hope, which is more in line to how Luke's lightsaber looks in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, right. Huh. Well, I try to be original, Tim. I like Dooku's lightsaber and Rey's lightsaber, and you just go with the fan favorites.
What can I say? Can't go wrong when it's the main characters and their cool design choices that they make.
Yeah. Also, Dooku has the coolest Sith name.
Tyrannus. Yeah. See, Maul, Tyrannus. Well, to be still you can't beat Vader, but Tyrannus is pretty cool. I will admit that. It's definitely one of the better Sith names. Darth Bane is great too.
Dane. Who else?
Are we just sticking to the canon, or are we going to go stuff that's not still in Legends right now, like Revan and Malik and?
Oh yeah, Revan is a good one too.
Yeah.
Yeah, Revan is a good one. Yeah, I think that's it, right?
Darth Malgus, the
Plagueis.
What's that? Plagueis, that's right.
Yeah, that's another good one. Yeah. I forgot that there was a Star Wars MMO, the old Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah, still going on.
I forgot that existed.
Yep.
Apparently, they're coming out with a new DLC or whatever, expansion pack.
Yeah, I just heard that too, not too long ago. But I've never been big on the Star Wars MMOs, never played the game, so it's not one that I usually keep my finger on the pulse of that. Just know what's going on with it.
Anybody that plays that game?
I know Kyle played it when it was first came out. He really liked it, but I know it's been a while.
So do you have to choose a side?
I think you can start off as a Jedi.
Oh, really?
Yeah. See, now I don't remember if that one gives you the choice to be a Sith or not, but I imagine it does because that's kind of the calling card of the old Knights of the Old Republic series. But I don't remember if it does.
Well, I'm looking it up right now. Wow, it came out in 2011.
Yeah, it's pretty old now. It's a decade old.
Oh yeah, you can choose. I guess when you're creating a character or whatever.
Okay.
You choose between the Galactic Republic or the Sith Empire.
Okay, so it does give you that option. I would think so. Like I said, it's like the calling card of that series. So
Yeah. Oh, you could be a bounty hunter. You could be a
Okay.
Sith warrior. Be an Imperial agent. A Sith Inquisitor. So it's kind of like the Inquisitor.
Yeah, that must have been like an expansion, maybe, or a new class that was added after Rebels or something. Because I don't remember if that was there from the beginning.
Oh, really? You could be a trooper. Be a smuggler. Be a Jedi Knight, Tim. I know that's the one you're picking.
Oh, of course.
You could pick a Jedi consular. I guess I'd be the Inquisitor. I'm sorry, Tim. We'd
So
have to
we'd
fight
be
each other.
enemies then if we were to play that.
Yeah. Well, no, technically I'd be above you. You know what I mean? I'd be more of a because you would match up with the Sith warrior. Well,
I get.
I would match up with Qui-Gon.
Why? I'd work my way up to a Jedi Master. I'd get there.
Yeah, I wonder if like you play a Sith, I don't know, Sith warrior or whatever. I wonder if you get the Darth, like they can put Darth in front of your name, so like Darth Tim or whatever.
Well, I don't know if I'd use my real name for a Star Wars MMO character. It's
Oh,
too
yeah,
random.
no.
I have to think of something else.
So yeah, you would have to plan ahead then. Yeah.
Do one of those things where it's like choose like your birth month and the day you were like born, and you get this Star Wars name. You see those things online all the time, like
Yeah.
Star Wars name generators.
Yeah, I don't know. I just can't get into those MMO games.
Me
You know what I
neither.
mean? Like, I just don't have enough time to like, get good at it.
I don't have the
Stuff.
time or patience for it, really.
Yeah, get all the gear and stuff. So,
Yeah, my
yeah.
MMO days are long gone.
Oh, have you played any MMOs?
Yeah, like 15 years ago. Like the last one I played was the last one I tried to get into was the DC Online one. So not quite 15 years, but
Yeah.
that was the same thing always happens. You get a group of people that you try to play with. Everyone's on different times, and at least the group I usually play with, they would play more than me. They leveled up way quicker. I'd be behind, so I couldn't do the same missions. And especially the early
Right.
MMOs like Final Fantasy 11 and City of Heroes, where you die, you lose all your experience that you gain. So Final Fantasy 11 was notorious for that, which I hated. You could spend hours trying to level up. Then you run into the small little goblin that's higher level than you, kills you, and just wipes out hours of playing time you did leveling up your character.
Really?
I hated that. It's a real
Oh,
turn
that
off on
sucks.
MMOs. I don't think most of them don't have that anymore, but
Yeah.
still, it's like it's gaming genre. I'm just done with. I can't ever see myself getting into any future MMOs.
I remember playing not Knights of the Old Republic, but it's just called the Old Republic. There was an MMO before that, a Star Wars MMO.
It's probably Star Wars Galaxies. That was the first one.
Yeah, I remember playing that one at a friend's house, and I remember it was awful.
Yeah,
It was one of the
yeah.
worst games. I mean, I don't know. Is that like the consensus or whatever?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I remember like getting lost, and like I didn't know how to control the guy, and like I just had like a small little blaster, and I didn't know what really to do.
Yeah, I felt like I remember too. We're here, and it took forever. Like you had to spend hours to get to become a Jedi. It was like almost an
Oh,
impossible
really?
task. Yeah.
Well, it probably takes place between or like in the original trilogy set
Yeah,
of
I'm pretty
movies,
sure it
right?
does. Yeah.
So there wouldn't be a lot of Jedi, right? So
But yeah, that even had like a
I
whole
remember.
relaunch to try to save it, and that didn't go over very well. So I
Oh,
think it
really?
was just kind of a mess.
I remember you could be a Twi'lek. You could be I'm sorry, but they will always be Greedos to me. Rodans,
Rhodians.
Rodians, right? they will always be Greedos. Like, hey, look, in Force Awakens, there's a Greedo there, sort of thing. I remember like, especially like with the Greedos, you could like really customize them, if I'm remembering correctly. But beyond that, I remember like I didn't exactly know what to do, and like you're just running around like this small little city that looks like Tatooine, and then you run like further, and then there's nothing. There's no other stuff besides sand around you. So yeah, like I guess people didn't play that game, that Star Wars Galaxies.
Or those who didn't really enjoy it. I know it doesn't have the best reputation.
Yeah. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Well, that was a sidetrack.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, this is one of those conversations where I don't know how we got into Galaxy's Edge recap and then into MMOs, but
Yeah, maybe.
I guess when you go back editing the episode, you have to see where exactly it turned into this conversation. Because right now I don't remember. But it was fun reliving that experience of Galaxy's Edge. So I'm not complaining.
This podcast is great if you have ADD.
Yeah. Yeah, because you don't know where it's going to go next and how we got there. But with that, we can move on to our comic book reviews, because not really like hardly any news or discussion topics that big stuff anyway that happened in the last few weeks. But I finally got around to reading a really big comic book release that I'm not super recent on. I know it's been out for maybe about a month or so now, but the long-awaited Batman Earth 1 Volume 3 is finally out. And it kind of took me by surprise that, it's coming out. I mean, obviously I remember hearing about it and that it's coming eventually, but didn't remember it having a concrete date. So I was more than, it was a welcome surprise to get the release date on this one. And so I got it and I'll be reviewing it. So as always, going to go into spoilers in this issue, or I should say this volume. So if you haven't read it yet, definitely hold off on hearing my review, because there's some big plot twists that go on in here, which are pretty cool. So that I'll be getting into. And as always, got to have a rating scale. And I imagine it's going to be something that has to do either with Galaxy's Edge, MMOs, or getting sidetracked off topic. Dane, what do you got?
How about Star Wars species that Dane just uses the name of the character as the species name.
Okay, if I can
So,
remember.
like Doritos, Chewies, not Wookiees, but Chewies, Big Fortunas, Ahsokas.
Well,
Yeah,
that's a good one. If I can remember the exact wording, I'll say it like that. But
it's okay. It's okay if you get close, Tim.
okay. All right. So Batman Earth 1, Volume 3 by Jeff Johns and Gary Frank with more amazing art. I should say, too, that before I read this one, I had to read Volumes 1 and 2 again, because it's been a long time. Not quite as long as The Long Halloween, not reading that, but a while since I read those 2 volumes, which I loved. And then rereading them again, this was a nice reminder of why those comics are so great, of just getting a different take on Batman, who's just starting out and not having the best or the most experience on how to handle things, gadgets that don't work, not able to jump between rooftops. So this interesting stuff like that. His relationship with Alfred was just a nice refresher, just how different, but how great it was too. And just how different things are in Earth 1, but yet still makes for some compelling stories in those first 2 volumes, where you're dealing with the Penguin as the mayor, the first appearance of Riddler, Harvey Dent and his sister Jessica, and what happens for them and dealing with the Riddler, which leads into Volume 3, because in the end of Volume 2, and I was glad I read it, because if I just went into Volume 3, I would been kind of lost as far as trying to remember what happened in Volume 2. So it's definitely, if it's been a while since you read Volumes 1 and 2, definitely reread those before you get into Volume 3, especially Volume 2, because it deals with the aftermath of what happened there with the death of Harvey Dent and his sister Jessica kind of being the one to get scarred on the face. Not as bad as Two-Face is, but some scarring on one of her side of her face. But it's not really much where it's a deformity or anything, but somewhere she has to wear a small covering in this issue. But there was a tease at the end of that arc of Harvey's sister Jessica where well, I'll get into it once I get into here. So I'll just get into volume 3. So the issue begins with a police officer kind of investigating someone in this old like mental institution who's writing on the walls, showing obviously he is not sane. And it gets and he says to the police officer, "Where is Martha?" And right away it leads you to believe this is someone related to Bruce's mother, Martha Kane, or Martha Arkham, I should say, because in this universe, Bruce's mother, Martha, is part of the Arkham family, and which I thought was a pretty cool, different twist on the character that was established in Volume 1, and it definitely has some interesting effects here in Volume 3. So that's the first thing, realizing that it looks like a relative of Bruce, his grandfather, is still alive. And then we get into Bruce discovering the Batcave for the first time, trying to find the passageway into a lair that he can have and into the sewers underneath Wayne Manor. And one thing that I really liked in Earth 1, and especially here in Volume 3, is how it's focusing on Bruce trying to build the Bat family, but yet it doesn't start off with the members that you would normally expect it to. Dick, Barbara, but obviously Alfred is the first one who's part of it, but you would never guess who the second member of the Bat family would be after Alfred. And it was a step. Go ahead. Yes.
Okay, so it is a bunch of Greedos.
Well, you got the skin tone right, color right.
Okay, good.
But almost there. But it is Killer Croc. Killer Croc is one of the first members of the Bat family here. And he was first introduced in Volume 2 kind of as an ally of Bruce to kind of track down the Riddler. So I'm glad they picked up on that, where they had this kind of mutual respect and understanding, to where at a point where Bruce becomes to trust them as a full-blown ally and a member of the Bat family. This early stages of it, because right now it's just Bruce, Alfred, and Croc. But it just makes such a great, unique dynamic. The way Croc and Alfred kind of poke jabs at each other right off the bat, where they're not really the best of friends, but then they become to respect each other and then trust each other as allies and as friends of Bruce. So the issue then kind of, I keep calling it issue, but I gotta remember it's a graphic novel where you see this crimes going on in Gotham. What else is new? But it's with these criminals with these massive weapons that the city hasn't seen before, like flamethrowers, rocket launchers, just a massive amount of weapons that these criminals and like gangs haven't had before. And so it comes to the realization that there's someone here bringing in these weapons to Gotham, and Batman and Gordon need to try to figure out who that is before an all-out gang war erupts. And at the same time, too, we get Bruce checking in on Jessica Dent, seeing how she's doing. Like I said, she still has to wear a small face covering on the left side of her face, but and mentally too, Bruce is there to make sure she's doing okay and that she's coping with not only her condition but the loss of Harvey Dent too, and what that meant for the city. And then, so there's two big reveals that happen here. As I mentioned at the beginning, the officer finds a crazy madman asking where's Martha, and like I hinted at before, it is end up being Bruce's grandfather, Adrian Arkham, who somehow survived, because the backstory was that the Arkham families are kind of cursed, where they just all go crazy. That's what happened to Bruce's grandmother, who he thought killed his grandfather and left his mother Martha as an orphan. And so Bruce is obviously shocked and surprised to see that his grandfather is still alive, but he's still not mentally there. And so he takes him back into Wayne Manor. And then the other big reveal here is that it gets hinted at that the person who's bringing in all these weapons is none other than Harvey Dent, who everyone thought was killed in the prison riots that the Riddler set off in Volume 2. So that obviously is a surprise to Bruce, to Harvey's sister Jessica, and just wondering how that could be. and just there's got to be more to this. So as I'm reading the issue, I'm thinking, okay, they're making it seem like Harvey is alive, but I'm not fully buying it yet. So I'm waiting to see what the twist is going to be. And amongst all that, it introduces Selena Kyle as Catwoman in this story too. She was in volume 2, but you didn't know it was her until the very end. So she's making kind of her full-blown debut in this story. But I gotta say, one of my few complaints about this comic or this graphic novel is the costume design choice for Catwoman. It's not the greatest. It's going for a more Cheshire cat look from Alice in Wonderland, but I get more. This is how bad. It's not as bad, but it's more in line of Halle Berry's Catwoman costume than, let's say, Michelle Pfeiffer's or Anne Hathaway's Batman or Catwoman costume as their respected Bat movies. It's not great. The cat mask isn't great. The coloring is a purple, or like I said, the Cheshire cat from Alice in Wonderland. So it's a purple and black striped outfit on the leggings, and it's just, I don't know. I know Jeff Johns and Gary Frank are going for a totally different look for Catwoman here, but just not going to be one of her best costume designs in my opinion. But the interactions she has with Batman is kind of typical Batman Catwoman stuff that we've seen before. It still works really well here. So Batman is, as the graphic novel moves along, Batman's trying to deal with the return of his grandfather, who reveals himself to be, like I said, is Adrian Arkham. And there was a great moment too where Bruce takes him back into Wayne Manor, and he kind of surprised at his surrounding, doesn't know where he is. He's asking for, like, where's Martha? And then as he's struggling to kind of get away, he looks at Bruce and he sees his daughter in his eyes, like, it's her. I can see her in you. Like, you're her son. Like, tell me, like, where is she? Is Martha alive? And then Bruce just goes and hugs his grandfather. It is kind of showing that she's not alive, but still kind of having this nice moment with his grandfather that he never thought he would have before. So I did like really that moment for Bruce, but we'll get back to his grandfather in a bit. So like I said, they're still trying to figure out how Harvey Dent is alive. Killer Croc and Alfred are there with Bruce trying to figure out. They go to a cemetery to dig up his coffin, and there's no body. And I also forgot too, there's a nice moment where another addition to the growing Bat family is Bat Dog. Killer Croc saves this dog who is kind of getting beat up by these two criminals he was tailing to trying to find more about the smuggling weapons. As he sees them trying to hurt a dog, he steps in and takes them out, and then he adopts the dog and brings it into the Batcave. So I like having that aspect of Killer Croc saving a rescue dog and bringing it into the Bat family. Another nice little touch there that I like. So as they discover that the coffin is empty from Harvey Dent's body, we see that his sister Jessica is in a car, and she is there with Harvey Dent on the passenger's side. And so she's having a full-blown conversation with Harvey here. Like I said, they got a phone call from him. So all points show that he is alive. And there's this great reveal. I just like the layout of it here, where she's talking to Harvey in the car. You see her face, but Harvey's face is all in shadow. It's all in dark, but you could tell that side of his face is going to look like the Harvey Two-Face we all expect to see. And then the great reveal as you turn a page, it's just a really skeleton, just degraded body. Because if you remember Volume 1, it was kind of similar to The Dark Knight, where the left side of his face got burned, kind of like Harvey did in The Dark Knight. So when you see this panel here, you can see the face is burned, but it's a lot more skeletal as well, almost like a walking corpse. So you're just thinking, okay, so they're going with this version of Two-Face, and he's obviously alive right here. He's talking to his sister, and she's talking to him. So they're kind of building up to the final moments where he's going to have a all-out gang war in Gotham, just chaos, riots in the city. In his mind, Gotham needs to be, the only way to save Gotham is to destroy it, a little similar to Ra's al Ghul's thinking here, and just have it purged and judged from his point of view, that this is what Gotham deserves and has to be, just to kind of purify it and have it start over. So while Batman gets the help of Catwoman, so you got Catwoman, Killer Croc, Alfred, Bat Dog, they're all part of the team that Batman has established to kind of do what they can to stop the riots and everything that's going, this whole gang war that's going on in Gotham, thanks to the weapons that Harvey brought in. So Bruce is able to track down where Jessica Dent is, saves her from some falling debris that happens. But as Gordon is kind of riding along with Bullock to deal what they have to with the gang war going on. He gets a car from Barbara, and he says she is able to trace the phone call that Jessica got from Harvey, and says it was traced and it wasn't Harvey Dent. So it makes you think, okay, so who is this person impersonating Harvey? So then we get to the next page as as Batman is getting Harvey out of the car that he was in with Jessica Dent. He pulls out the body and it's still a dead body. It's Two-Face's corpse, pretty much. It was never alive. He was never talking. It was all in the mind of his sister, Jessica Dent. So it's pretty much, she is the Two-Face of this story. She has the split personality, but instead of being another like dark side of her, she's pretty much took the persona of the dark side of her brother to Harvey. So it's Harvey and his sister Jessica as Two-Face in this split personality disorder that we know Harvey always had, but now it's just him and his sister. So he takes control over her body, or her mind, I should say, in this final act of the story. And Batman is trying to get through to Jessica, but she's not there. And then he gets knocked out by his grandfather, Adrian Arkham. So him and Jessica / Harvey are working together to get to Bruce. And all their plan is where Harvey, I don't even know what to call it because it's Jessica, but in her mind, she thinks it's Harvey, it's Two-Face. So I'll just say Two-Face because that's pretty much who she is, even though she doesn't have the full-blown disfigurement that Two-Face had on the face. But Two-Face wants to do to Bruce to what he feels Bruce did to his family, the Dents. Having him die, dealing what he did to his sister. He wants to make Bruce suffer the way he did as far as regarding family. So that's why he teamed up with his father or his grandfather here to kind of, because his grandfather, he's not all there. He thinks there's this big curse and he has to purify Bruce. The Kane or the Arkham curse of going insane, he thinks it's taking a hold of Bruce. And it all deals back to the symbol of the bat, which is supposed to be the origins of that curse. So he thinks Bruce is full blown into that. So their plans kind of align just to kind of torture Bruce here. And Bruce is able to, they have him captured, and Bruce's grandfather brands him with the letter A, the Arkham symbols. So he brands him with that. And as he's going to do it again, Bruce is able to knock Adrian not off the ceiling, the roof of the building, but just further enough to have him escape from being trapped in that chair tied up. So he escapes, he gets some help from Catwoman, and the roof seems to collapse on his grandfather, and Bruce is just trying to save him, but he can't, and just screams out a big no, and then he has to focus on trying to save Jessica and trying to reach her and bring her out and not the side of Harvey that's there. And so they established that they had a relationship or trying to build a relationship in Volume 2 and trying to have it continue here in Volume 3. So Bruce reaches out, tells Jessica that he loves her, and just for a second, it gets Jessica back out, but she can't hold the Harvey persona from coming back too long. So instead, she kind of decides to do what she has to do and just jump off the cliff and end it for herself, even though Bruce obviously doesn't want that to happen. So she jumps off the cliff, but someone catches her, and it is Killer Croc. Just telling Bruce not to worry, I got her, pal. And just like, again, I love that dynamic of Croc working with Bruce. It's so unexpected and so different, but yet it works so well. So he's able to save her. But then Bruce's grandfather isn't quite dead yet, and this is where we get another big reveal. He comes out of the flames, and it looks like he's on fire, but his face is starting to melt, or it's like almost like a candle wax burning off his face. And you could tell it's not just from the fire, but there's something wrong with his face. So before he could kind of say anything or do anything to Batman further, Gordon steps in and just extinguishes him with a fire extinguisher to put him out of commission. But once he's locked up, it's a pretty cool reveal, which I didn't see coming, but I really liked. It wasn't Bruce's grandfather at all. It was actually, as Gordon is trying to find out who he is, they were to get some fingerprints, and it ends up being a renowned scientist by the name of Preston Payne, which should sound familiar to you. But then Bruce goes, so his name is Preston. And then Gordon says no, because underneath those fingerprints, there was another layer from someone named Matt Hagen. And under that, there was another layer of prints from someone named Basil Carlo. So obviously, put all those names together, we're getting the Earth 1 version of Clayface. And it was such a unique twist and take on the character that I thought worked so well as someone that Jessica Dent used to knowing the powers of the shape-shifting that Clayface has, can use it to manipulate Bruce and just mentally have him struggle with knowing that his grandfather is alive and just mess with him that way. But just such a great twist for the character, and now having this be the way to bring in Clayface into the Earth 1 universe, I thought was great. And having him, all those personas and aliases and pretty much DNA of the other Clayfaces that we know in the main universe, Matt Hagen, Preston Payne, and Basil Carlos. So I just thought a clever way of introducing Clayface here. So the issue ends or starts to conclude with Jessica being locked up in a mental institution, but Bruce isn't going to give up on her. He's going to try and help her. And with that, he's going to use, obviously, his money and to build Arkham Asylum, which obviously has big ties to him, as I mentioned. That's his mother's maiden name, so it's his part of his family name too. And it's an Arkham Asylum like no other. It's modern, it's nice, it's not anything like the other Arkhams that we're used to. And that's where he takes Jessica Dent to have her get the best care needed. But through that, there's a monologue of Bruce talking to Alfred, how Alfred's kind of trying to talk Bruce into leaving Gotham, for almost like there's not much you can do. Can't do everything to save it. But Bruce says, like, there's no way I can leave now. Like, there's people in Gotham who can't afford me not to. And there's people out there who are willing to join me on this fight. And so obviously he has Alfred, Croc, and Catwoman as part of his team. And they are being referred to as the Outsiders now. So that was another nice touch. As Bruce is giving his monologue, he's recounting some scenarios and situations where he could probably get more family members into the Bat family. He goes, some will want to join because of their loss. And then we get a panel of Haley Circus, and we see a young boy grieving at a cemetery and see two officers saying, the kid says a clown killed his parents, cut the wires and fell. A clown killed the flying Graysons. And then we see Barbara coming back into Gotham, meeting her dad, Gordon, asking him, I'm dying to learn more about the Batman. And so we get a little snippets of teases, obviously, for Dick Grayson and Barbara Gordon joining the Bat family. But then on the very next page, it's a big splash page of the Batcave. You see Batman looking over on a stairway, looking down. You see you see Alfred, you see Lucius, you see Catwoman, you see Croc. But standing right by Croc, you see Dick Grayson in a Robin costume, and then you see Barbara in her Batgirl costume, all from behind. But obviously, they're fully established or starting to begin the story of having them join the Bat family as well. And if I have another little knock, it would be that I'm a little disappointed that they kind of just skipped over Bruce meeting Dick Grayson and having him join the team, as well as Barbara, because obviously, like I said in the shot, they're in full costume here. And I really wanted to see the story of Bruce meeting Dick Grayson in Earth 1 and just see how different it would be, but yet be told in a story that would be, I think, done really well, because Jeff Johns has done a great job in all 3 volumes of changing things up with these familiar characters, but making them stories that work really well. And I wanted to see that for Jason or for Dick Grayson as well. But maybe we will in volume 4. Maybe we'll get some flashbacks, some conversations between Batman and Dick that harken back to when they first met. So maybe we will, but that's something I really want to see. And I will be disappointed if we never get that aspect explored more in Earth 1. And then the way the issue ends, it's like all the other volumes. I love how at the end of each issue, the last page of a tease of who the next villain is going to be. Volume 1, it teased the Riddler. Volume 2, it teased Catwoman. And Volume 3, it's been long enough. We've got all these villains. It's time to bring in the Joker. And so we see the Joker kind of hijack a police vehicle transporting Winslow Schott, a.k.a. the Toy Man, and Joker kind of recruiting him. And I like how Winslow Schott just says, "Who are you?" as Joker opens the vehicle. And he doesn't say the Joker. He just goes, "I'm nobody." So we're going to hopefully get a Joker story in Batman Earth 1 Volume 4. And I cannot wait to see what we get for that, because this was another great volume. I just love the Earth 1 universe. It's so different, but yet it works. The stories being told are really well done. The directions Jeff Johns takes these characters are so... The stories And like I said, the direction he takes them are so well done. You get so invested in these characters and what's going to happen to them. And I just can't wait for more. So this was another home run for the Batman Earth 1 series. I loved it. A few nitpicks here and there regarding Catwoman's costume and kind of skimping over Batman and Dick Grayson meeting for the first time and having him join Robin. But that's something that could be rectified. We'll see. So I'm going to go ahead and give it 4.5 out of Star Wars alien species that Dane refers to by their character names. So that's a lot of them for this volume because it was fantastic.
That's a lot of characters.
I think you had them all
let's see.
covered. Like you said, the Greedos, the Chewies, the Ahsokas, the Bib Fortunas. So.
The Jawas.
Yeah.
Is that it? Okay.
That is it. Yes. So
Okay.
great bit of new Batman media content. One the movie, one a comic. Both are excellent. Definitely check them out. Batman The Long Halloween Part 1 and Batman Earth 1 Volume 3. You won't be disappointed. Some of the best Batman stories we're getting this year.
All right. So go over to the BatmanUniverse.net, Facebook.com/BatmanUniverse, Twitter handles at BatmanUniverse. The show's Twitter handles at Bat-Fans Podcast. Tim's Twitter handles at TimG311. My Twitter handle is at DaneSaysBanana. Rating reviews on iTunes, and you can email the show at batfanswithoutpants@gmail.com. So with that, like we say at the end of every single episode, Tim.
We love each and every one of you with all of our Star Wars alien species referred by their character names hearts.
We'll see you guys next time.
That was a mouthful.
Sunrise under Gotham, Crime Alley's a rich boy's tomb. There's a steaming cat, two faces of a coin, scared